Hi, and welcome to Migrating Print and Document Services to Windows Server 2012. I'm Andrew McMurray, Technical Evangelist for Microsoft Corporation. And in this presentation, we are going to examine the migration process of taking a print server running Windows Server 2008 R2 and migrating all of the printers across to a new server running Windows Server 2012 Print and Document Services. At the end of this procedure, we will then remove the Windows Server 2008 R2 server and assume the identity with the Windows Server 2012 server. So we can see here on our new member server, we're going to add the print and document services role to allow this server to act as a print server after the installation is complete. Once we've completed the installation of print and document services, we can go to our Windows Server 2008 R2 server, known in this demonstration as print server, and start migrating the prints off it. As you can see, we're going through the standard add roles and features wizard here, choosing print and document services and adding in the appropriate remote server administration tools there. Once the feature is installed, we'll then start working on our Server 2008 R2 box. Pretty simple procedure. Simply export the printer definitions from the source server, import those into the destination server running Windows Server 2012, and then assume the identity of the source server on the destination server. Moving across to our Windows Server 2008 R2 print server, what I will need to do is open up the print management console from administrative tools. Within the print management console, I can initiate my migrate printers wizard. Simply right click, migrate printers, and I'll export all of the printers associated with this particular print server to a file. Simply click the next button after choosing the print server we're connecting to and browse to where we want to save the exported information. I've created a folder called Printer Migration on the root of the C drive here, and I'll call the file 2008 print server. The save button and clicking next will then start the procedure. The driver files will be exported, as well as all configuration information for every printer on this print server. Noting, of course, that USB and LPT ports are not migrated. As you can see, our printer migration file is present on the root of the C drive. Now what I need to do is go into the services applet and actually stop the print spooler service. The reason I need to stop the print spooler service is from this point, I don't want any new print jobs being accepted by this old server whilst I perform the migration across to Windows Server 2012. So stopping this print spooler ensures that no more print jobs can be accepted. We can now transfer to 2012. Now that our print server is turned off, back at Windows Server 2012, we simply need to open up the print management tool again and import the exported file into our 2012 print server. As you can see here, the process is almost identical to what we did on Windows Server 2008 R2, except now we're choosing the import option within the print migration wizard and browsing for the appropriate print migration file that we created as part of our export in the previous task. So here we can see we're going to our print server and opening up that particular migration document. When we hit the next button, it enumerates everything that it sees inside the file. And as you can see, it's found all of our TCP ports. It's found our drivers. We're now telling it to install or migrate to this particular machine. And we also have a couple of options around the import mode. Do we want to overwrite our existing printers or keep our existing printers and take an extra copy? And in this instance, we're also going to take these printers and publish them to Active Directory once they've been migrated. Migration occurs, and then after migration is completed, we can simply look inside the event viewer if anything has gone wrong. The wizard will, of course, tell us whether or not any errors have been found as it goes along. See, no errors have occurred. What I can now do is expand my print server, and you can see our drivers have come across just as we expected. We'll now check to see whether those printers have come through, and the printers have also been appropriately created. So now our migration is almost complete. We need to change the identity of our server and remove the old one. Before we decommission our old print server, we're just going to check Active Directory Administrative Center to ensure that those printers actually created themselves inside Active Directory correctly. We'll go to our global search and type member, and you can see here the 3 printers have come across just fine. See the properties of those there? We now know that they've been published to Active Directory and also published on our new print server. Everything has been correctly migrated and published to Active Directory. Now, on our Windows Server 2008 R2 old print server, we're going to rename this particular machine because we will then need to go to our Windows Server 2012 destination migration server and change its name to the same as the current server so that we don't interrupt access to any of the printers. We've renamed it to old print server, and now we'll simply shut down our old print server and decommission it. Start and shut it down. Back at our print server 2012, all we now need to do is rename this particular server. Currently, this server has a name of member. We are going to change that now to print server so that we don't interrupt any access from anyone who already has any of these printers already set up on their client machines. As you can see, currently called member, now print server. And last thing we need to do is from our client, check to ensure that our printers are still available.
Now we can see that from another machine on the network, we can simply browse to our old print server's name, and that will now redirect us to the printers now resident on the new print server, being Windows Server 2012. We have successfully migrated our print server from 2008 to 2012.